It is officially September 1st, and that means the summer movie season is over. The kids are back in school, the people with jobs are still working their jobs, and studios have their September and October releases ready to go for Halloween. That's the big horror movie season. But over the past few years, we have been getting some pretty good horror movies over the summer, specifically 2024. Oh my god, look at that slate. So it got me thinking, what summer had the best horror movies? And I'm not just going to give my opinion on what I think had the best movies, because look at what happened last time I gave my opinion. No, this time we're turning to cold, hard numbers and facts. That's right, I'm going to be looking at the Letterboxd ratings and the IMDB ratings for all these movies and calculating the average to see what summer had the best horror movie releases. Hey, didn't I do a video on Letterboxd ratings? And for this video, I'm only going to be looking at the years 2021 through 2024 as to not keep this video from being hours and hours long and also keeping me sane crunching all these numbers. But in the future, if you want me to crunch some numbers from a previous decade, maybe the 2010s or 2000s, let me know and I can do that. But for now, we're looking at the 2020s, and I got all these movies from this website of all the theatrical releases. Okay, so my microphone got unplugged during recording, so now it's a different day. But what I was going to say, I'm counting the summer movie season from being in between May 1st and August 31st. Okay, so we're only looking at specifically horror movies released between those dates. Now, some of these movies are going to be way more popular than others. Some of these movies were only in theaters for a day, a few days, a week. I was considering whether or not to include sort of the smaller ones that not a lot of people have seen, but hey, I decided indie cinema is cinema and we gotta treat it as such, so we're including everything that is on this list, no matter what. And if you're wondering why I left a certain movie off the list, it's probably because Google said it was a thriller. Every time I encountered a movie that I didn't know about, I would just Google the movie, and at the top it would either say it was a thriller or a horror. And if it said horror, I put it in the list. If it said thriller, I did not put it in the list. Sorry. And for simplicity's sake, I'm only going to stick to this list and not include streaming movies. I know it sucks to exclude them. There are some good ones like Fear Street and Prey, but overall it would be really hard to keep track and find all like really small streaming releases. Like, show of hands in the comments, how many of you saw Last Night at Terrence Lane's this year, huh? Yeah, it would be really hard to keep track of all the streaming movies, so for now we're just gonna do theatrical, okay? And since there are so many movies, I only made graphics for wide releases, and then I will show you a bigger chart with all the releases, and then we'll go over the numbers. Sounds good? Okay, let's go. So starting off with 2021, we saw a total of 16 theatrical horror movie releases. 8 of those were in wide release, so let's take a look at those wide releases. And these are in chronological order. First, we got Spiral. Letterboxd rating of 2.1, IMDb rating of 5.2. And if you don't know, Letterboxd is out of 5 and IMDb is out of 10. Then after that, we saw the release of A Quiet Place Part 2 with a Letterboxd rating of 3.4 and an IMDb of 7.2. After that, we got the release of The Conjuring: The Devil Made Me Do It with a Letterboxd score of 2.7 and an IMDb score of 6.3. Then we got The Forever Purge. Hey, wait a minute, didn't I just do a video about the Purge franchise? This got a Letterboxd rating of 2.3 and an IMDb of 5.4. The sequels kept coming this year when we got Escape Room Tournament of Champions, which received a Letterboxd rating of 2.6 and an IMDb rating of 5.7. Then we got the first original wide release movie of the year with Old, quite a divisive one, Letterboxd rating of 2.4 and an IMDb rating of 5.8. But then we went right back to the sequels with Don't Breathe 2 with a Letterboxd rating of 2.4 and an IMDb rating of 6.0. Then the year closed out with Candyman, which received a Letterboxd rating of 3.1 and an IMDb rating of 5.9. And here is the overall chart of 2021 horror movie releases, including the limited releases. Some notable mentions are Censor, Werewolves Within, The Night House. I know all of those have quite a following. Now let's take a look at the 2021 Letterboxd stats. All of the movies, including wide and limited releases, averaged out to a rating of 2.73. If you only average the wide release ratings, it has an average of 2.28. The highest rated movie of the summer was A Quiet Place Part 2 with a 3.4. And the highest rated limited release was The Night House with a 3.3. The lowest rated movie of the summer was Demonic at a 2.0, and the lowest rated wide release movie was Spiral with a 2.1. Now let's convert those stats over to IMDb. All the movies averaged out to have a 5.79 rating, and taking the average of the wide release scores, we get 5.93. And all the highest and lowest rated movies stay the same as they were on Letterboxd. Then moving on to 2022, we saw 15 theatrical releases, one less than the year previous, but this time there are only 5 wide releases. So let's take a look at them. The summer of 2022 started off hot with Firestarter. Those ratings are hot alright, with a Letterboxd score of 1.7 and an IMDb score of 4.6. Then in 2022, we got The Black Phone with a Letterboxd rating of 3.3 and an IMDb rating of 6.9. Then we got Jordan Peele's Nope with a Letterboxd rating of 3.7 and an IMDb rating of 6.8. Then we got A24's Bodies. Hey, didn't I do a video about this one too? It got a Letterboxd score of 3.3 and an IMDb score of 6.2. Then we were all invited to The Invitation, but did anyone go see this? I actually did. Letterboxd rating of 2.2 and an IMDb rating of 5.3. This is the 2022 overall chart that includes limited releases and their scores. Some notable mentions are Alex Garland's Men and David Cronenberg's Crimes of the Future. Now let's take a look at the 2022 summer Letterboxd stats. All movies, wide and limited release, averaged out to a rating of 2.6. Only taking the average of the wide releases, it bumps up to a 2.84. The highest rated horror movie of the summer was Nope with a 3.7. And the highest rated limited release was The Innocents at a 3.6. The lowest rated movie of the summer was Maneater at a 1.6. And the lowest rated wide release was Firestarter with a 1.7. Converting those stats over to IMDb, all movies averaged out to have a 5.44 rating, with the wide release average being 5.96. The highest rated movie of the summer was actually The Black Phone, not Nope, but all the other movies stay the same in their categories. Next up in 2023, we got another 15 theatrical releases, but this time 7 of them were in wide release, so let's check them out. Similar to 2022, the 2023 summer season started off with a Stephen King adaptation, The Boogeyman. It received a Letterboxd rating of 2.7 and an IMDb rating of 5.9. Then we got The Blackening, which fittingly came out on Juneteenth, that received a Letterboxd score of 3.1 and an IMDb score of 6.0. Then we got Insidious: The Red Door, which received a Letterboxd rating of 2.4 and an IMDb rating of 5.5. Believe it or not, this was a wide release that came out on Barbenheimer weekend. I still don't understand why. I did a whole video about it. Cobweb. It received a Letterboxd rating of 2.8 and an IMDb rating of 5.9. Then at the end of July, we got Disney's Haunted Mansion. Yes, I'm counting this as a horror movie because horror for kids is still horror. It received a Letterboxd rating of 2.6 and an IMDb rating of 6.0. Then we got a movie that's slowly reaching cult status now. It's Talk to Me. It received a Letterboxd rating of 3.5 and an IMDb rating of 7.1. And to end the summer season off, we received The Last Voyage of the Demeter, aka Dracula on a Boat. That got a Letterboxd rating of 2.6 and an IMDb rating of 6.1. Here is the all-inclusive chart of 2023 summer horror movies, including limited releases and their scores. To be honest, I haven't seen many of these limited releases. The only one I have seen was Slaughterhouse. Now let's take a look at the 2023 Letterboxd stats overall. All the movies, wide and limited, averaged out to have a score of 2.63, with a wide release average of 2.81. The highest rated horror movie of the summer was Talk to Me with a 3.5. And the highest rated limited release of the summer was Final Cut with a 3.4. Final Cut is actually a French remake of the Japanese film One Cut of the Dead, fun fact. The lowest rated movie of the summer was The Flood at a 1.6, and the lowest rated wide release was Insidious, The Red Door at a 2.4. Converting those stats over to IMDb, we get an overall average score of 5.26, with a wide release average of 6.07, and all of the highest and lowest rateds are the same as Letterboxd. And lastly, this year, where there were 18 theatrical horror movie releases, and 11 of them were in wide release, so much more than years previous, so let's take a look. Just a quick PSA, I did get these numbers on August 16th. So that's what those movies were rated as of that date. Now that I'm editing, I can see some of the scores and the 2024 movies have changed a bit. Some scores went down, some scores went up. But just to keep everything simple and the math the same, I'm just going to leave the scores as they were on August 16th, 2024. Sorry about that. The first movie of the summer we got was Tarot. Hey, didn't I do a video on this? Anyway, it received a Letterboxd rating of 2.0 and an IMDb rating of 4.8. Then after that, we got The Strangers Chapter 1, which received a Letterboxd rating of 1.9 and an IMDb rating of 4.6. We started off this summer season with The Watchers, and it won't be the last time we see the Shyamalan name. It received a Letterboxd rating of 2.4 and an IMDb rating of 5.7. Then we got Russell Crowe in The Exorcism, which is not at all related to The Pope's Exorcist. This movie received a Letterboxd rating of 1.8 and an IMDb score of 4.1. Then we got the third movie in the Quiet Place franchise, A Quiet Place Day 1, which received a Letterboxd rating of 3.2 and an IMDb rating of 6.4. Speaking of third movies in franchises, we got Maxine next, which actually got the same exact scores as A Quiet Place Day 1, with a Letterboxd of 3.2 and an IMDb score of 6.4. Then from Neon, we got Longlegs, which received a Letterboxd rating of 3.5 and an IMDb rating of 7.1. I told you the Shyamalan name would show up again. That's right, we got Trap up next. This got a Letterboxd rating of 2.9 and an IMDb rating of 6.2. Just a few weeks later, we got another Neon movie, Cuckoo. This received a Letterboxd rating of 3.1 and an IMDb rating of 6.4. And just recently, we got to see Alien Romulus. That has a Letterboxd rating of 3.7 and an IMDb rating of 7.5. And to end the year off, we got Afraid. Yes, that is the only way I will pronounce this movie's title. And actually, as I'm recording this video, it hasn't come out yet, since I want this video to be up on September 1st. Sorry, I do not have the scores or info for this movie. I know that might have changed the average a little bit, but I'm sorry, I wanted to get this video out. Now, this is the overall chart, including limited releases for summer horror movies of this year, 2024. Some notable limited releases are I Saw the TV Glow. That's right, I know in my Tarot video, I said that this wasn't a horror movie, but guess what? I changed my mind, so I put it on the list. We also have In a Violent Nature, which, hey, I did a video about. Now let's take a look at the 2024 Letterboxd stats. All movies wide and limited release averaged out to a score of 2.57, the wide releases averaging out to 2.77. The highest rated movie of the summer, despite what my comment section says, is Alien Romulus with a 3.7. The highest rated limited release is actually a tie between I Saw the TV Glow and Oddity, both with a 3.6. The lowest rated movie of the summer for the first time is actually a wide release movie with The Exorcism at a 1.8, and that means the lowest rated limited release of the summer was The Beast Within with a 2.5 rating. Converting those stats over to IMDb, we get an average rating of 5.69 for the summer and a wide release average of 5.38. All the movies stay the same except for the highest rated limited release is no longer a tie, and it just goes to Oddity with a 7.0 rating. Now that we've crunched all the numbers across all 4 years, let's take a look at the winners. First, let's go to Letterboxd. The year with the best average was 2021 with a 2.73 rating, and the year with the best wide release average was 2022 with a 2.84 rating. The highest rated movies of any of those years is a tie between Nope and Alien Romulus, both with a 3.7. And there is a three-way tie for the highest rated limited release, which is between The Innocents, I Saw the TV Glow, and Oddity, all with a 3.6 rating. The lowest rated is also a tie between Maneater and The Flood. One is a shark movie, the other is a crocodile movie, but both have a rating of 1.6. And the award for the lowest rated wide release movie goes to Firestarter with a 1.7 rating. Now let's take a look at our winners over on IMDb. Again, the year with the best average is 2021 with a 5.79. But the year with the best wide release average is 2023 with a 6.07, as opposed to 2022, which was the winner on the Letterboxd scores. The highest rated movie was Alien Romulus at a 7.5, and the highest rated limited release is a tie between The Innocents and Oddity, both at a 7.0. The lowest rated movie is now just Maneater, no longer The Flood, with a 3.1 rating. And the lowest rated wide release is not Firestarter, but is instead The Exorcism at a 4.1. Now to make it easier for your eyes, here are all the years ranked both on Letterboxd and IMDb. Both have 2021 as their number 1 slot, but number 2 on Letterboxd is 2023, and on IMDb it's 2024. On both platforms, 2022 comes in third, but on Letterboxd, 2024 comes in last, and 2023 comes in last on IMDb. Now here are the rankings only looking at the wide release scores. Things shake up quite a bit, where on Letterboxd, our new number 1 year is 2022, and on IMDb, it is 2023. On Letterboxd, our champion on the other list, 2021, is now in last place, and on IMDb, 2021 goes down to third. This just goes to show you how the limited releases were really carrying the year 2021. Also interesting that this year, 2024, according to IMDb, was the worst for wide releases, coming in last place, even though we had movies such as Longlegs and Alien Romulus. Alright, if you made it this far into the video, here's the part where I say my opinion. Viewers beware. But in my opinion, the best summer for horror movies was this summer. Maybe it's just because we had the most, but I think a lot more hit than missed. Alien Romulus, Longlegs, I'm a Maxine defender, as you can see in the poster behind me. In A Violent Nature, I also defend that movie. I Saw the TV Glow, and I made a whole video defending Tarot. Overall, this is one of the best summer horror movie seasons we've got in a while. And then the rest of my rankings would look like this. So go ahead and tell me your rankings of these 4 years when it comes to summer horror movies in the comments below. Thanks for watching this video, and thank you for supporting me from my transition into making this channel a horror movie channel. For the past month, I've been trying to upload twice a week, and as of now, September 1st, I'm currently moving, so this whole setup behind me will be gone, and there will be a new one, and in all that craziness, I will probably go back to posting once a week, so go ahead and subscribe, because I got some good videos cooking. You don't want to miss out on that. So in the meantime, go ahead and watch all the videos I referenced during this one. They're great, I promise, and I'll see you all next time in a different room.